Wait, we go like this, right?
Ooh.
Slobs, you start this. Like, we cannot swear.
Do whatever you want.
Oh, okay.
Oh, no.
This close? Oh, my God.
What do you think? Adults, welcome.
What are our topics?
Thank you for joining me.
Restart it.
Welcome back to a brand new episode of Slobs Anonymous. I am your host, Joey C., accompanied by my co-host,
KB.
Cabes. What's happening? How you doing?
Life is well. I'm really excited. The 4th of July is done.
Yeah, the whole weekend got pretty congested.
It was very congested.
It felt like we had 4 parties in like a 24-hour span.
Yeah, and the 4th of July is the biggest party at our house every year.
Correct.
Because it's inside, outside, both yards, like just fucking pure mayhem chaos. And it's just...
I was there to share the mayhem.
Yeah, it's wild. And then you're cooking and you're cleaning and you're planting all your flowers. It's just a lot. It's just
I don't have to do any of that. I just show up.
Yeah, you just show up and
I show
blow
up,
off
I eat,
fireworks.
I drink, I swim. And that's all.
Exactly. Right. But I mean, that was like a 4 a.m. night and that kicked my ass. And
Dude, I got lucky that night too.
Why? What do you mean?
I got lucky.
You did?
Yeah.
In Kentucky?
I didn't blow any of my fingers off.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good.
What'd you think I meant?
I didn't know. I was gonna say, must be in the pool water. Hopefully it wasn't in my pool water. But I have these questions for you all the time.
Yo, quiz my ass. I love
so
questions.
This is one of these thoughtful things I come up with.
This is something you don't know about me?
Yeah. Okay.
I feel like you know everything about me.
These are questions that I come up with on like a weekly basis where I'm like, I wonder what Joe's response is to this.
All right.
Do you get embarrassed when your ringtone goes off in public? Because we lived through the era where we bought ringtones, and now if the phone rings, I personally become mortified. And when you go out in public, do you have your phone on silent or do you have your ringer on?
Oh, it's on vibe. That's it.
Okay.
You hear the whoa, whoa.
Okay.
That's it.
Do you get embarrassed though if it does go off?
There has been times where, like, for some reason, either I was sleeping or something where it was in my pocket, and the ringer did go all the way up for some ungodly
and then
reason.
You get embarrassed?
Yeah, I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, I'm like looking around, like, listen, I'm not the guy who does this.
Yeah.
I'm like, I genuinely have had the vibrator on for
16 years.
Yes, as long as you could do it.
Well, since you bought ringtones.
I never bought a ringtone.
Did you use like the recording though, where you like sit by the speaker?
Yeah. I would either do that or I would find a way. Once email came into play, like when I could start mixing my own sound bites, I would just email my own, like an MP3 for like at the exact moment I wanted a song to start.
Right.
And then I would just either text it to myself or.
But then you're like, yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
But then you're like out in public. I was thinking about this. I was like, I was like, like 15 out in public listening to like Missy Elliott. And then I'd be at like Victoria's Secret buying Love Spell. And then you just hear, work it. Like, now if that happened to me, I would commit myself.
Spit it out.
Yeah.
Give you a taste.
Right. I'm like, I would off myself. Yeah. It's awful. Yeah. I was one of those jerks, so I was just wondering. I was curious about that. But
yeah, vibe all day.
Anyways.
Is there anything new from the week, or you just coming off the high of all the vacation time?
Work has been like crazy, but it's okay. I'm just excited that I feel like I have nothing like really to do. I mean, I have like my mom's birthday is this week coming up. My other friend's birthday is coming up, but like it's like there's no like actual thing that I have to do for it.
Yeah, it was kind of like after all that, it was like, man, now what?
Yeah, right.
I know what you mean. It's like weird dust settling.
Yes.
Because we had a party here. You were at we
partied
a lot. I saw you too much.
Yeah,
right? Like,
I know. I'm really sick of you.
We're gonna have to stop doing something.
I agree. Cancel him. If you want to be my new co-host.
I mean, you're on my good side currently because you walked in the house with that bomb-ass homemade coffee cake. And I was like, ooh, I was having a bad day. Now it's time for cake.
That's right. When in Rome.
Yeah, exactly. Well, as you know, we're here for the third and final installment of...
Wait, hold on. Wait.
What's
new in your life?
In my life?
Yeah, you never even told me.
I got bomb-ass coffee cake.
Oh.
Well, actually, no. Before we even get started, or before we get into any of that, did we have any stories or anything?
No stories. this week, but that's
I
okay.
have one about me, but I'm curious if I should
Let's hear it.
hold off. Maybe,
Let's hear it.
Maybe keep the listeners coming back for something.
All right.
Eventually I have to tell some shit on myself.
All right. Let's hear it. Next week.
Now?
Next week.
Oh, you faked them out. Pump fake. All right, next week. If we don't have a story, this doesn't mean you're off the hook. All right, still send your stories in. Okay.
Yeah, we like them.
I'll tell it next week.
Help a sister out.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, we're here for our third and final installment of our career fair. I don't know.
Jobs,
all
they
our
were.
jobs we've had.
Yeah,
we're in the home stretch here.
Interesting.
And we could definitely hear the tone in these ones where, like, we just kind of didn't know what we were doing.
Yeah,
But
no, for sure.
I'm glad we aired it. I'm still proud of it, and hopefully you guys are listening.
The other ones are just like random. Like I worked at Ross.
No, it's not your turn.
I know, but I'm like,
We'll bounce
the
back on
salon
the
was
retail.
like it was disappointing because that was like going to be my career.
So okay.
And
so that was the
then I decided
look into the mirror where you were like, okay,
Yeah.
I don't want to do this.
I hated hair. I hate hair now.
Well, that's how my next one kind of ties in because I was going for an internship, and it was the final. It was the final semester of my. She's just tripping all over the fucking basement right now. No, it was the final semester of my communication degree at Concordia University, Chicago, and she's still tripping all over the bathroom. Are you getting a beer? What are you doing? Oh, she's having a cigarette. Excuse us, folks. So I was originally going for my communication degree, but specializing in radio, as you may or may not have known.
Yes, I did know that.
So I found this. I needed to find an internship because all the classes that were left on the bill that I could take to fulfill my my degree were just nothing of interest. And when they said you could do a whole semester's internship and no classes, I was like, yo, sign me the fuck up. That's what we're doing. I'm going to get back to work and then get a degree.
Did you get paid?
Yeah. In this internship, it was. It was the hardest thing to find an internship to begin with. But then it was even better the fact that I got one that had some money on the line. So I was working at Guitar Center, hilariously enough, where I was talking to this guy who was in a band, and at the time, I've been in a band for the last 20 years. Mm-hmm. I was like, how do you get your shows? What do you do? And he's like, oh, we have this entertainment agency that helps us out who books our shows for us called Bass Schuler Entertainment.
Okay.
So I looked them up to start booking shows, and I look at the front page of the website, and it's like, need an internship? And I was like, get the fuck out
You're
of
like,
here.
God, this is God's leading me.
Right. So it didn't have anything to do with my my communication degree, but I was like, shit, I need something, and if this has to do with like bands and booking and stuff, I'll do that.
Yeah.
So I sign up. They call me immediately. They sign me up immediately. They had to get in touch with the school. School had to get in touch with them to make sure everything was copacetic. And essentially, that was my last semester at Concordia, where there were no classes. It was just every week you write a report of like what you did every day. Like you have like basically a diary of like, today I filled out these papers and I filed this work, but every day was identical. I came and I did the same thing. I made sure the contracts were signed. I ran like tax forms and stuff for the acts that were playing. Like it was the same routine every day, like we were booking all sorts of, it was like college acts, comedy acts. Bill Burr and Kevin Hart actually got their start with them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, back in the day. They had like their old screenshots with autographs on them from way back in the day.
That's awesome.
Where they're like shaking hands and shit. Like, it was pretty cool.
That's crazy.
So I was like, well, if like, it's just kind of cool to see like everything brought down to like a little guy level, what I mean? To be that close to like where some celebrities started was pretty sweet. So I did that. We were like proofreading copies and organizing, and like we sent out the contracts, and there were press kits that were sent. We would have bins of press kits. People would send this shit in like a CD. Be like, hey, listen to my CD.
Oh, okay.
And they're like, throw that out. And I was like, you didn't even listen to it. And they're like, we don't need to. We have the 200 acts we need. Like Hairbangers Ball.
Yeah.
Yeah, we booked, like they were one of our clients.
Oh my God, yeah. I saw them at my bachelorette party.
Yeah, we booked like Seventh Heaven.
Oh yeah, those are like big.
Any of the big like suburban fest band, like the cover bands.
Robert,
and
or
like
no, what is it? American English.
We had American English
okay.
on we had all their press kits and all their stuff. We'd send emails
Floyd.
out. Think Floyd was also in there, but we had a couple. There were like 2 or 3 Pink Floyd bands. There was like Rod and the Tough Curls or something like that. I don't know. There was a bunch of these cover bands that like,
but good cover.
50-year-old wino moms from Arlington Heights like to listen to. You know what I'm
Block Party
saying?
Mom Dancing.
Yes,
That's my
it's
favorite.
It's literally Block Party moms who like this shit. But it
Love
books.
it.
It sells. Like, clearly, the guy made a business out of it, making a shit ton of money. But I got to see what was behind that. And then just like dealing with the clients themselves, like, if there's a problem with a tax form, or sometimes they come into the office with like gift bags and stuff for us and gift cards and shit for being like, yeah, thanks for like handling all the paperwork and all the bullshit we don't want to deal with as, as the act. You know what I'm saying? We were doing their tax forms for them.
Oh my God.
Like filling out all this shit and they're like, hey, just sign it now and you're good for your taxes. Like, but they taught us like how to do all this stuff. It was pretty cool. Even though it didn't serve me any but
it was
worldly,
a cool,
it was a cool experience to just see like how some of that stuff works,
Yeah.
And I submitted our stuff. I submitted our press kit, and they're like, "Yeah, we don't need an original act to do anything for us. We're looking for cover bands. Like you need to have a shtick where you're like dressing up like something, or you're doing all Dolly Parton songs, but they're heavy metal. Like some weird thing, where, like it has to be this specific thing. But so it didn't work out, but." Whatever.
Now you're on podcast.
It got my ass graduated. That's what counts.
That's right. And now you're on a podcast and you're in a rock band.
Exactly. And that means
you don't have to play cover songs.
True that. Check us out, Capper Brothers, capperbrothers.com.
Cross promoting.
Yeah. That means you're up, Kaylee.
So then I got into after hair. I had a few like weird little times where I worked at like Ross for like a month. It was horrible.
As you were saying, yeah. So
I worked.
So you got like the Marshall's experience, like I did.
Yes, but it was weird because it was like really depressing because you go from like thinking this is your career, and like having it all figured out. And I was only like 20. I was young, like I was like, wow, I'm like ahead of everybody. Like everyone's still in college, and I'm gonna be this hairdresser, and like make millions, and then like it not working out, and I was just like, I fucking hate doing hair. This is the worst, and I loved it.
So you went from not liking to do hair to going to Ross?
Yeah, I literally left.
So it was a different kind of hatred at that point.
Oh yeah, so it was like a depression. It was rough. It was like, then I worked at this pyramid scheme company that I worked there for like a week, and I don't even know what we sold.
Seriously?
I think we sold like
widgets,
business antics.
Antics?
Like I swear, I think they wanted to like go into people's small businesses and like show them how to run their business, and they wanted you to
like
be
Gordon Ramsay, that shit. Like how do you go in and just like tear up a restaurant?
But like it was not like no,
it
was like
Ramsay.
that, but like but it was nothing
it was a
like
scam.
that. It was it was like basically they would go in there and probably like steal all their people and leave them to dry.
Oh my God,
it was brutal. So I was only there for like a week. I got Michael a job there.
My brother? Oh, yeah. No, I do remember that.
Yeah.
We'll have him on the show next to talk about that.
Yeah, right. And he probably knows more than I do. I think he worked there a lot longer than I did. And I got Jesse a job there, my cousin Jesse. And they both actually worked there longer than I did. I literally was like, fuck this. And then I left. And then I started working at a limo company.
Oh, just right. So what? 3 months? Would you or a month? You said
it was like a very short, maybe like 3-4 months.
Okay.
I just like went from next to next.
That makes sense.
And then I started working at the limo company, and then
what were you doing?
Were
you just the receptionist?
I worked myself up again. I always worked my way up. I did reservations.
Okay, so you were doing like the phone call thing.
Yeah,
for limos.
Yeah, I was like
booking limos.
Yes, and then I ended up creating my own spot, and I was a wedding specialist. So I coordinated all special events and weddings for their transportation.
Oh, that's cool.
So like McCormick Place, when they had like big events, like they'd have like big people getting picked up from the airport going to the McCormick Place, or like
celebrities.
Yeah.
So you were booking celebrity transportation at that point. I mean, not all the time, but you
had
days where you're like, oh shit, Brad Pitt's in town. He needs to get to the convention
They would call
center.
like their people would call my people, and I was those people.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so that was cool. And then I specialized strictly in just weddings.
Okay.
Because I I just love weddings, I guess. I don't know. I was just really good. I worked with a lot of like wedding planners exclusively, and then like they didn't have that as a job before then, and they just kind of like made it a job because I was just doing really well. They were like, you're going to just handle every wedding. So
that's gotta be. You ever think about being a wedding planner?
Dude, I literally, I think that I should have been a wedding planner.
It's not too late.
I literally was thinking about this today. Look at my YouTube search history. How to become a wedding planner.
Yo, we might have to have like a spin-off side hustle episode, or maybe like if we have time, not time at the end of this, but we can cut something together about side hustles because
yeah, we have a lot of those.
I got a lot of side hustles that I've done for money. Let me tell you, all legal, of course.
Yeah,
but
right.
just Uncle Sam doesn't have to know about it.
Exactly.
I don't have to be paying taxes on that shit.
But yeah, that was a cool job.
That sounds cool.
Honestly, I liked it a lot. I got to go show. So like if someone was getting married, I brought them in the back. I would show them the limo, take them in the party buses, be like, I need this party bus to come. I need them cleaned and ready to go. And then
right. Well, again, it's nice.
I would meet the couple. Like, right. It was cool.
It's nice when you have a passion for something where you're like, I love weddings. I love that I get to show you this party bus that you're going to just have a great fucking time on.
Yeah, and then you could, like go in there, blast the radio, turn all the fucking lights on.
Yeah,
they're like, you see it, like, their, like, faces are
like,
just like,
shit,
oh
the
my
day of.
God.
Boots, 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 boots.
Yeah, it was fun. I liked it, actually. It was a fun job.
That makes sense.
And then I was planning my wedding at the time.
Oh, so you were just in it.
I was so in it. I was like, okay, so this is what we're going to do. I gave them like packages. They didn't even have packages before then.
Oh, you made like brochures?
I literally made like, I was like, okay, we're going to do a wedding package. Like, and it wasn't even a wedding package. It was just our requirements. Like, and I just labeled it wedding package and people were like, oh my God, 5 hours of unlimited stops. Like, yeah, that's the wedding diamond package. They're like, oh, wow. I have to have that. But that's literally
the diamond experience.
Yeah, literally. That literally came with it.
From Candy with a K.
So
Candy
it
Diamond.
Was fun, though.
If you're going to be a stripper, that would have to be your.
It would be
Candy Diamond with a K.
Yeah, right. It definitely would be. I wanted to name my first child Candy, and my mom
with a K.
Yeah, my mom was like, "You're not naming your kid Candy. You're gonna ruin that kid." But I like all those weird names. Anyways, I don't have any children, so I just named my dog Trixie.
So there's still time for you not to mess that up. So for my last 5, they're all within the logistics industry. That's why I was kind of curious to see where you were at on your.
Yeah.
Like there are different things within the logistical industry, but it spans literally the last 10 years of my career. Like it's really where my career, I like to call it my professional career,
kicked off.
Where like I really started making money as a full-time individual. Because I started January 2004. Well, it's not quite 10 years yet. Coming up in a couple months, it'll be a decade in the logistics industry where I started in sales, and this is where the bullshit titles start to come in my life.
Yeah.
I was an account executive.
There you go.
Which is the expensive way to say sales.
Right.
And like through that, it was like we had to like develop, manage, and like negotiate sales with personnel and like build a clientele base of like carriers who basically didn't want our help. It was a third-party logistics company where we had a customer side and a trucking side. I was on the trucking side and had to find the carriers, and then we would just pick through the customer side who had all the loads basically and pair up a truck with a load and try to make some commission. But for the first year, you're a dispatcher trying to figure out how to talk to drivers because you got people who either don't know how to speak English or they don't know where they're going. They don't know where they're going, or the place is closed. And there's a problem. Now you got to pay them a layover.
So you're rough. Constantly thinking outside of the box.
Well, yeah. Oh, the one guy I had to have him.
Thinking
the one time the guy was like, "Yeah, so they don't accept without an appointment, and I have another pickup today." And I'm like, "Oh shit." I'm like, how do I think about this logistically? I'm like, could he legally drop this at a warehouse nearby his stop, and we have another driver pick it up from a different company? You have to really think
outside.
You think realistically. Right. You're like, what's wrong with doing this? This isn't by the book, but can this be done? You know what I'm saying? You're constantly on your feet trying to figure that shit out. And then you got drivers who were backing out of loads at the last minute, and you're watching your commission come off the board. It was crazy. At one time, I ran Because after you're a dispatcher, then you would shadow someone who was in the sales department, and you would run their book of business, essentially tracking all of their shit to make sure that everything's on schedule, they're not missing their appointments, stuff like that. And when he was out on vacation, I got 100% of his commission because I was working his book.
Oh, nice.
And I made, I don't know if it was that week or if it was a week I went up by myself, but I had 1 week, or I'm saying it was one day. We had a commission board, and it was live all the time on a TV, who was highest and everything.
Damn, that's terrifying.
Oh, you want to talk Wolf of Wall Street shit?
Holy
Tell me about
shit.
it. I was number 1 for 1 full day.
Damn.
Because of the amount of load. I don't think it was the commission so much, but they had a load board, however many whoever had the most loads, and then whoever had the most commission. But I think I had like 15 loads that got booked that day. That I like went out and found a truck for and booked. And it was just like, you're just sleuthing all day, looking for like lanes that repeat, like that you can get some guy on repeated business for, and like it was crazy. So like, and like coming out of college, they were like, "Hey, how do you like $40,000?"
Yeah, you're like, hell
salary,
yeah.
But you were working 10-hour days, 5 days a week, mandatory.
Okay.
Then you'd go into a commission program, but I left before the commission kicked in because I would have made no money. They could take you off of your salary, and you're just commission based, but my book of business was not strong enough to do that because I just didn't.
Brand new.
Right. Like how do you sell someone something that's not there? It's like, hey, I'm gonna have loads eventually. You know, like it's kind of a hard market to corner. It wasn't for me. There were guys there making 6 digits with their eyes closed. They knew what they were doing. But it was not for me. It was not for me. So it started in sales, and then I don't know, again, how many jobs you got left? Because I could rip through these, but
I mean, I have like my medical. I worked in 2 podiatry offices. One was the best job I've ever had.
That was from the last job?
Yeah.
Right from there? Oh, yeah, then go. We'll take turns again.
So I got back from my honeymoon. I went and worked. Craigslist applied to this job.
You went on Craigslist for a job?
Yes.
You're trying to get killed?
Dude, I was like, and I knew the place. Like, it was like, oh, it's right by Teasers, the neighborhood bar.
No, dude.
So I'm like, oh my God, I know that office. Like, I know where that is. That's normal. So I went there, and literally, my boss was like terrifying. She has the best RBF ever. She's the nicest.
Liked this job?
Oh, it was my favorite. I swear to God, if they didn't sell, I would have been.
Oh, they sold. Okay.
Yeah.
It was like the bartending gig. I loved bartending.
It was
and they went out of business.
Like, my coworkers were great. My job, I loved it. I had 20 doctors that I scheduled for. They would go to nursing homes and give them podiatry care. So I was the coordinator. I would schedule the doctors, let the nursing homes know. I would go to the nursing home sometimes and like check in, see how the doctor's doing. Like, very like relationship building type of job. Like, so the doctors were like great. They were. I loved it.
If the people are good that you're working with, that's half the battle. It really is.
Literally, we were like a family.
You don't have to like the job, because then you could just talk shit about the job with the people you like.
And then like a lot of the girls would leave at 3, and I worked till 5. And from like 3 to 5, me and my boss and like this other girl would just sit and just talk about random shit all the time. we didn't even. I didn't work with like patients in the office.
Right.
When we did have days where we'd have to, and I would never have to do it because I like pretty much was the only person that did my job. So I didn't really have to do it, which I was really happy about, but
gotcha.
Hands down best job. And then I worked at another podiatry office that was insane. Literally insane. The girls were like drinking at work.
Polar opposite of the
having
first experience.
sex with the boss.
Jesus Christ.
Like, it was crazy, the shit that went on there.
That's
like,
pretty funny though.
I literally was like, and then everyone was like, why are you so quiet? I'm like, I'm actually not quiet at all. You're just all fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, then it was just a fluke. I got my job now. Like, my original boss from the podiatry office reached out to me and was like, hey, I got a really good.
Oh, with this current job?
Mm-hmm. He's like, I have a guy who's one of my
that's
friends.
all of them?
Yeah.
Oh.
Pretty much.
Oh, okay.
I think. Well, I had a few others.
No, I want to hear them all though.
Dude, I think that, but they're not like good.
I want them. I want it all. I want it all.
No, I think that might be it, actually. Oh, no, I worked at a fertility place.
Fertility?
Fertility center.
who's Tility?
Fertility.
Fertility?
Like for babies?
Oh, I thought it was somebody named Tility.
It was between the two podiatry offices. So when the one closed, or they sold, and then I quit because they sold, and then I worked at a fertility center for like a month.
But what were your duties at these jobs? I feel like were you just really just sitting around like bullshitting?
Where? At which one?
At any of them. Like it sounds like you were just like, yeah, I went there and that was about it. Like,
no.
You didn't really have to do a whole
No,
lot.
at which one specifically?
All right, first podiatrist, go.
So the first one I ran a nursing home. I ran the nursing home pretty much department with this other girl. And like I said, I had to go, and I had 20 doctors that I scheduled them, and we had 250 nursing homes that we had accounts with, and we were growing constantly. And then basically I would schedule the doctors monthly and send them patient lists, do insurance stuff with it, check insurances, make sure that they were covered. I would do referral or not. I would do basically referral stuff. Like, oh, we need referrals for these people. I would do medical, ordering medical supplies. A lot of texting and a lot of emails.
Like texting your friends, emailing your friends?
No, like doctors. Like, oh, this doctor didn't show up because their kid's sick.
Dude, actually, now that you bring this field up, there was one I left off on my resume. I worked for corporate CVS for 2 weeks.
Oh, did you?
Corporate CVS for exactly 2 weeks. It was 1 week training and then a week in the seat, and it was not the job they taught us.
Are you serious?
Yeah, so they put us in the seat, and it was like, they're like, oh, yeah, you have to call the doctor. And I'm like, for what?
I'm not sick.
They're like, yeah, I'm like, I feel fine. They're like, no, you have to cross-reference this gentleman's insurance or whatever, like to make sure it'll cover his hernia or some shit. And I'm like,
oh my God.
Wait, what?
Yeah, right.
I'm like, this was not in any of the we were going over basic functions of the job. Like this, none of this was covered at all.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. Not to comment your story, but I don't even know when that happened. But I got that through a friend at the time. I think it was when I was working at Chicagoland Commercial, and I got let go there because that guy wanted to pay his rent. But yeah, I was like, this is not for a week. We spent doing all that stuff, all that paperwork, all those quizzes.
Yeah, right.
We were literally in a classroom learning this job. And then they put our asses in the seat, and it was
Call
nothing.
The doctor. You're like,
no.
What?
The only thing the training and the actual job had in common was that we had a phone at our desk. That was
hilarious.
That was it. The job was completely different.
That's so funny. And then, when I worked at the other podiatry office, it was similar. I mean, I only scheduled
Same role.
for one doctor.
Okay.
But my doctor was like the meanest doctor.
Okay.
He literally was very mean. He would literally tell me, well, this is what happens when you don't go to college.
Hey, your job?
Yeah.
Get out of here.
I swear to God. I'm like, I did go to college. I just didn't finish.
Right. You're like, I went.
but occasionally.
Right. Occasionally.
I was enrolled.
Yeah.
But, I literally, and then it wasn't, because literally he would make everybody in this office cry. All the girls.
That's not cool.
They were like, can you handle it? I was like, yeah. I managed 20 doctors going to 250 different places all the time, sometimes weekly, sometimes you know what I'm saying? I'm like, sometimes I got this. Right. So it wasn't until he was quizzing me kind of I had to prove myself. And then I was like, I literally told him, I was like, I don't think you realize
who you're fucking with.
Yeah, I literally said that, and I would not be rude to him. I would be so nice to him, and it would aggravate the fuck out of him.
Yeah.
And I'm like, literally, I could do this in my sleep.
Right.
You know, and then I did medical billing. I learned how to do medical billing there, and that was fun. I actually really liked that, the medical field. I liked doing that stuff.
Yeah. Was that did that like lead or help lead into that fertility place or?
No, so the fertility place was in between. So
Oh, that's right.
I hated the fertility place. It was so depressing because it's people like going to try and have a baby. It was interesting though because learning the process of like freezing your eggs and
yeah, dude, pregnancies are crazy.
Yeah, so it was really interesting, like science-wise. Like I learned a lot about like different types of issues women have, but like it was crazy, but it was like really depressing. It wasn't like I would rather deal with people like with a foot ulcer or gout or like whatever.
Or a finger hanging off.
Although one time I will say I went to a nursing home when I worked for the one podiatry office, and I went there as an assistant because I scheduled assistants as well, and the assistant didn't show up, and this was like a veterans nursing home, so they had I was going before the doctor to take off the patient's shoes and socks. They're all guys mostly because it's a veterans home.
Yeah.
And they're all sleazy old guys, like they're fine. So I'm like, whatever. I could handle it with the best of them, whatever. And then I go to this one room and the guy, I could have sworn he grunted. Like, I swear to God. I thought he went, ugh, I'm like, hi, my name's Kaylee. I'm going to take your shoes and socks off, and then the doctor's going to come in and look at your feet and trim your toenails. And I could have sworn, because you have to get verbal consent to treat them. So I could have sworn the guy grunted. So I go, I'm on the other
side. So the grunt would have been a yes at that point?
Because a lot of the time, sometimes they can't physically
just
say
like nonverbal.
Yes,
Okay.
So I'm like, I'm going to take it as a yeah. So I'm on the other side, and the doctor, she comes in. She comes out of the room, and I'm coming out of the other room, like, ahead of her so that she doesn't have to wait. And then I'm, like, recircling, helping, making sure they don't need help putting their stuff back on.
Right.
So she goes, Kay, what happened in that room? I go, what do you mean? She's like, he's gone. I go, I'm sorry, what? She goes, like, he's gone. I go, like, where'd he go? Like, I'm dumbfounded. I'm completely dumbfounded. She's like, he's not here. It was like Roseanne. Have you ever seen that episode of Roseanne?
No.
It was this episode, like, oh my God. It was brutal. I'm like, what do you mean he's gone? She's like, Kaylee, he has passed away.
Get out of here.
I swear
Come
to
on.
God. So his grunt was
his last utterance of life.
And it was awful because he has all these kids' pictures, like his family in this room. It's like their home, like.
Dude, come on.
And literally, by the time I got to the other end of the hallway, the nurse had like the curtain over his head, wheeling him out.
You were literally the dude's last interaction.
I was the last interaction, but he was
Holy
alive.
Shit.
When I was
barely.
Yeah, that was maybe his last grunt.
Well, okay, hold on. Did they say what the cause of death was?
No. They weren't gonna tell me all that.
I'm just saying
But literally, she was
gnarly.
she's like, I cannot cut his toenails. I was like, why? He's fine. He just grunted. Like, she's like, he's not here. I was like, where'd he go? Like, he didn't look like he was going anywhere.
Yeah.
She's like, no, he passed away. I was like, I'm only like 3 doors away. And like, that's another thing I can't handle is dead people and snakes. So like, that was just like traumatizing. But I always have some kind of a crazy fucking
Holy
experience.
shit. I was going to say, originally I was like, I need a good story out of this place.
Yeah.
That fucking tops them all for me, man. Jesus Christ.
That was pretty wild. And I was like, I'm never.
Where is he? He's
assisting
gone.
ever again. Ever again. Mind you, I don't like feet to begin with.
Right, so feed dead
like,
people. The only thing that guy was missing was a snake to be
dude,
like your ultimate nightmare.
I know, right?
Wow.
Yeah. So I faced my fears.
Yeah, you faced your fears. You're good. You've done some of God's work over there.
Yeah, my mom. I went home and told my mom. She's like, "Are you kidding me?" I'm like,
"Oh, fuck out of here."
Nobody believed me. I'm like, "This is his name. This is his obituary." Like, I literally was like, "This happened. How does this happen?" So they always had like an ongoing joke, like, "Make sure he's still alive." Like,
yeah, seriously, check that pulse. So for my last 3, that was everything though, right? I want to make sure we did get everything.
Well, now I'm current, and
you're current, but we're not going into the current because
I like my job now.
I know I like my job now too.
Right. I want to keep it. So
right, I'm not going to say nothing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, right. I'm hoping this is a lifer for me.
Right, same. If I could life at this one, that would
I'm
be
happy.
great.
Yeah.
So for the 3 then after my first logistics job, I'm just going to kind of blow through them because there's not a whole lot that goes. It's a desk job in an office. It's kind of the same shit, just I was doing different stuff at different places.
Office politics, though.
Right. So the one I went to from the sales situation was kind of a big wig in the industry. Still not going to say anything about that because I use them on a resume. And I was doing domestic trucking where it was just straightforward. We, as a company, had the trucks and we already had the loads and we just needed to put them together. So that's what we did. It was non-commission based, which was great. It was strictly operational. You meet a lot of crazy people.
Oh, I bet.
In an office setting like that with 300 people in the office. I'd say close to 75% of everybody where I could give them a confident, hey, how you doing? You know what I mean?
Right.
Where I knew like that's Angel over there, or that's Kyle, that's Billy over there, little Billy.
Right.
It did where it was
that's
like
C.
first. Yeah, exactly. you knew everybody on a first name basis. You might not have known what department they were from or what their last name was,
but you knew
everybody. You knew almost
face
everybody.
and name.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I was there for like 3.5 years.
Right.
But the final straw was when we lost our manager and our supervisor in the same year. Not lost like the old guy with the toenails. Okay. But they're like, fuck this place sucks. Like, I'm out.
They left.
The one guy got a crazy offer to move to Wisconsin, and his job was somewhere else far away.
Okay.
And he went and did that, and I was like, shit, man, power to you. But that dude taught me a lot about what I know, and he was up there for bosses. The guy just knew how to be a person, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And the supervisor below him had to take on all that responsibility because they weren't going to fill his shoes. So the supervisor got dumped on then, and he was like, well, fuck this. I'm leaving because I'm not doing two supervisory jobs for the same amount of money. I'm out. So for a year, we were stuck with no supervisor and no manager.
Oh my God. How do you put in vacation?
Exactly. I just did. I was like, not my problem. I got vacation. Someone else will do the job while I'm not here. It wasn't that type of job where like it would build up. It was, hey, I have a load. Can you pick this up for me today? And if we missed it, some other company would do it. You know what I'm saying? So we'd take vacation and just be like, hey, fuckers, guess what? Some of you get to handle my desk now. Like, whatever doesn't get done doesn't matter because it's for another business.
Right.
It's different, like at different place. Yeah, different flow of work. So for that year, I was like, okay, the guy who's got 30 years of seniority doesn't want to do this work. He's like halfway out the door, retired. Right. 1 foot out the door because he's like 55 or whatever. And I was the next in line. So I was like, all right, I guess I'm going to start doing some of these bigger tasks. They always preached where they were like, you got to do the work before we can give you the job. So I was like, well, if I'm doing like management work, if I'm doing supervisor work, like maybe when it comes to like raise time, I can go in for an interview, get myself a leadership job. Always wanted to be in a leadership job.
Mm-hmm. It sucks. Don't do it.
No, I like it. It all depends.
Well, maybe for you, I don't know.
It all depends. I wanted that job more than anything. I knew that department like the back of my hand. I was given presentations that I wasn't supposed to be given. I was in sales meetings. I was doing everything to make sure my hat was thrown in the ring properly.
Right.
So after 3.5 years of being at the company and a year of doing supervisor and management stuff, they finally put out a news bulletin within the company internally, supervisor position available for the, domestic department. I was like, holy shit, this is my chance. I've got the last year under my belt of learning all the operations and how this shit works. This is going to be excellent. I go in for this interview with like 2 or 3 other people who were also in my department who wanted the job. And I walked in and I had my suit on. Yep. I walked in there like the day I walked in there for that job. I was like,
you're ready.
I'm going in here to just conquer this. I walked in and sat down with HR upper management, and they go, what are you all dressed up for? And the air just got sucked out of the room. And I'm like, this is the job interview for the leadership role, right?
Right.
And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, that's why I'm dressed up.
Right. Hello.
Like, I'm here to show you I give a shit and I care about this.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, well, let's get started. And I'm like, great. An awful start for what I thought was just like an ace in the hole.
Right.
I gave them everything. I gave them all of the documents I had made, all the SOPs, all of the, any sort of the training modules I came up with, anything that benefited that department while I was basically running the fucking place while nobody else was there. And I'm thinking, I got all this evidence, all this extra stuff. This is a shoo-in. No, even with the shitty start.
So you just stepped up.
Stepped up hard and was
Right.
just like, let's do this. Let's
Leveled
play
up.
ball. And I'll never know why I didn't get it.
You
But
didn't get
ultimately,
it?
I did not get it.
Who
They
got
gave
it?
it to the guy who was about to retire, who had 30 years of experience.
Damn.
But he was just like, he was only half in it. Like, he didn't really give a shit about the department.
Right.
So he got the role, and a couple months later, I was like, I just don't like the direction this is in. There's clearly a glass ceiling above my head. Nobody wants me to go anywhere in this company. I'm out.
Did you at least get the manager role?
No, I didn't get anything. They gave me like and then on top of it, to add insult to injury, they gave me a quarter raise that year.
Are you fucking
After doing
serious?
all that work, they gave me a quarter. And that's when I just knew. I was like, this isn't the place for me.
Yeah.
Oh, I was going on 4 years, and I was like, nope, I'm gone. So I found another place that I worked for 11 months total, and they needed someone to run their department. It wasn't management, but they needed someone with ideas, somebody with process. So it was like, okay, we need someone who like has a way to like filter our email system, some way to like get our workflow down, because we have none of that right now, and we're a mess. We're missing our dispatches, we're missing our appointments, we're missing emails. We got to figure out a way so that we're like totally customer facing. And like, yeah, do you want $26 an hour to come on board? And I was like, holy shit. And this was, I don't know, 6 years ago. So I was like, yeah, I definitely do.
Right.
Did that for 11 months. Then COVID happened.
Right.
So I got laid off along with, I got laid off with a
no.
guy who's at the company for 15 years.
Damn.
I walked out with some heavy hitters at that place. And they cut like 10% of their staff. So then I was unemployed for 8 months, which was a nightmare. Finally found another.
Did you enjoy unemployment?
No, it was frightening. To live that long without insurance was absolutely terrifying.
Right.
So then found another logistics place doing something totally different, where it was ocean exports. So it wasn't it wasn't in the United States. It was taking shit from the U.S. and shipping it overseas.
Okay.
And learning the laws and the tariffs and dude, there were certain countries you weren't allowed to ship to, and if you did, the company would get fined, and like,
oh geez,
all this shit that was just like, I didn't have the brain capacity to even do it. And at the time, the management that was there, you could forget about
awful.
it. Dude, forget about it.
Were they
Absolutely
frat
forget
boys?
about it. No, fucking, it was two
Just
women
idiots?
who just didn't know what the hell they were doing.
Okay.
Like, they were put in power for a very short period of time, and they thought just because they had the title that they knew what was going on. They couldn't teach me how to even do the job.
Oh,
So
shit.
after 3 months of working there, I hilariously started with a girl on the same day working in a different department. We became friends quickly because we were both just as confused about the job as the next one.
Yeah.
She
Blind
introduced
leading the blind.
Right. She introduced me to her husband. We all went out for dinner one night. He tells me, hey, you want to come work at this place because it's awesome and you sound like the kind of guy we need. She comes in a week later and quits. I'm like, well, screw that. I'm taking this guy's business card and I'm quitting too. And that's where I am today. Like, it was
That's
crazy.
great.
Yeah. It was a nuts way of everything working itself out. Like how the universe just kind of found itself.
Right.
Like,
I know. It's crazy.
absolutely. Like if I didn't go through that 3 months of hell, I would have never met this girl who then introduced me to her husband, who was like a VP for the company I'm working for. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was crazy.
That's crazy. We both kind of like just like magically, randomly found
It's
our.
all about networking.
It is, yeah.
All about networking in any of this.
That's crazy. It is.
So that's what we've been doing for the last 30 years, everybody. Yeah.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. That was a very long episode. We're going to have to probably set this up
6
into like 3 parts or
episodes.
something.
Yeah, for sure. So I do have one question for you.
Absolutely.
Have you ever been fired from a job?
How about yes?
You have?
Yes, I have.
Which
I don't know how personal we want to get with this, but I have been fired. It was when I was working at, well, is the layoff considered a fire or is that a layoff?
No, because it wasn't like you did anything.
No, I was fired from Menards.
Okay.
I was arrested for
Oh,
a
God.
scheme that I was pulling there.
Dude, you had a pyramid scheme of your own.
Oh, yeah, I did. Yeah, after the years of watching everyone have their own scheme, I
Created
devised
your
a
scheme.
very, very in-depth plan to where the judicial system didn't even know what I did and didn't know how to sentence anything. So I just got off with going to a theft deterrent program and having my record expunged.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was that. I knew that you got fired.
No, it was.
And I knew it was for something like some kind of a scheme you did, but I didn't know it was that intense.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. I went in there on a Saturday for 13 minutes and was put on returns, and I was in the middle of an aisle when I heard my name across the intercom.
Joseph Capra.
Yep, please report to the front desk. And I was like, oh, that's fucking weird. 13 minutes in. And I just did it the day before, but I had done it several times with several people at the front end.
Did you rat anyone out?
No, absolutely not. I took the I took the rap on all that.
Damn.
All that shit. So I was
any
like,
other quit? Or any
no,
other
that was it. That was
firings?
it. And it was well deserved. It wasn't. I
Right,
wasn't
it was
like, oh,
like-
that's bullshit. I was like, oh yeah, I've been ripping the company off pretty hard.
Yeah, right.
So I paid for that in all its entirety, and anything I got away with probably came to with the court fees and lawyer fees and all that other
Holy
shit. But
shit.
yeah, no, it was a very, very good lesson to learn, though. Let me tell you, I was sitting in that like holding. It wasn't even like a holding cell. It was like a back room. It looked like an insane asylum. Like the cop
my
car
God.
pulled up.
Like you legit like went.
They booked my ass. Yeah,
Holy
I was walked out of
fuck.
that fucking place in cuffs.
Oh
in
my
front of all my friends.
God.
Yeah, on a Saturday morning, and like people, onlookers, the whole place froze.
Holy
Like
fuck.
they pulled me out of the back room. They were like, "We have a tape here. Do you want to tell us what's on this tape before we play it?" And I should have let them play it, because to this day, I think it was a tactic.
to just like
I don't think they actually had anything,
right.
but I think they thought they had a clue about something, because the amounts that were being, I don't even know what to call it. The amounts that were being
Processed?
generated and processed, yeah, we're just getting higher.
Okay.
You get greedy, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And as I was booked, I was put in the cop car. I was talking to the police officer on the way to the police station. I was just like, "So what's gonna happen to me, dude? Like, I fucked up."
Right.
And he's like, "Well, you could go to jail for 5 years with like fees up to like $100,000 or something like that." Like,
Oh my
he was reading me
God.
all these, like, he was just giving me like what he saw, what he knew. I'm just shitting my pants, because I don't have that kind of money. I don't have that kind of time to like reset my life. And then once you have a record, you can't get a job. Like,
Right.
I'm going down a rabbit hole, and I'm just
Did you cry?
oh yeah, I cried like a bitch.
I believe
I
it. I would
God.
have cried.
I was like, I gotta face my parents. I gotta. So
Oh
we
my
get to the police
God.
station. He pulls me out and puts me like in this holding booth or whatever. It's like it looked like a padded room, like it was real bright white in there, and he cuffs me to the bench. It's like he's like, all right, wait here, and I'm like, yeah, because I'm fucking going anywhere. Are you kidding me? Like,
Oh my God.
so I'm sitting there in that moment, and I'm like,
How did I get here?
well, it wasn't even how did I get here. The weird part was, in that very moment, I actively remember saying, I've never felt so alive. But there was a pinnacle moment of that thought process when I'm like, but now you have a choice to make. Is this who you're going to be?
Right.
Or are you going to turn your shit around and you're going to make something out of yourself?
Right.
I genuinely had that conversation with myself sitting in that booth, and then was eventually picked up from the police station, had my court date, did all that. And that was the bullshit part of that, because I had my court date and I got my lawyer. I don't know how the hell I even acquired this lawyer, but I got him and we were talking like, hey, do they have any kind of program, like, for speeding tickets, you
Right.
you just take a class or something, like, because whatever, like they got their merchandise back, whatever it is, like. And he's like, well, I'll see. He didn't know. And I was like, what kind of attorney is this? Shouldn't he know this shit? Like, I'm freaking out. I'm going to jail for 5 years, $100,000. Like, I'm screwed. I'm dead. I'm better off dead.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
that's what I'm thinking. And again, I went there in my suit, my tie. Like, I went freshly shaven, baby faced, like every time I went before the judge, because I was like, I'm not going to let him think I'm some kind of degenerate. I'm not a degenerate. I know better than that shit. Like, I just got caught up being bored, basically, like
Right.
at work, being like, I know how to make more money. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
that was the bottom line to the scheme. It made me more money.
Right.
And the store manager showed up in a fucking polo and like fucking jeans and a pair of Skechers, and I was like, look at this fucking chud.
Right.
This is the guy that's trying to take me down, Your Honor. Like,
Right.
look at who stands before you, as a gentleman, someone who is admitting his faults, like, and this is the piece of shit who just like couldn't let me catch a break. But I'm here to take my licks, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So he was like, all right, if you go do this theft deterrent program, we'll expunge your record. No problem. You know what you did was wrong. we can't even figure out what the fuck you actually did. So just go do this class and it'll all take care of itself.
Nice.
So I did the class that weekend. I signed up for the first slot. I was like, I got to get back to work, got to start making money, turn my fucking life around. I'm not going down that path. I get to court 2 weeks later, and this judge goes, all right, congratulations. Now we're going to wait a year. You have a record for 1 solid year, and I want to make sure you don't fuck anything up again.
Damn.
So they wouldn't expunge the record for 365 days. Which is why I was working a lot of those odd jobs at the time, because I left Menards and I was like, shit, I got to do something off the record. You know what I'm saying? I got to just be working for cash somewhere. But I was pounding the pavement still. I was like, I'm not going to take the vacation. I'm not going to, you know, I need to work. I got to put gas in my car.
Exactly.
So that 96 Oldsmobile Cutlass wasn't going to fill up itself. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, it was a wild ass situation. But other than that, never been fired from a job.
Nice.
Have you been fired from a job?
I have not.
No? Okay. You weren't stealing hair products?
No, I didn't. I actually, I was like the kid when we would all go to Claire's as a kid. I would not even steal earrings.
Was that a thing they did?
Yeah, it was like a thing. Everyone would go to Claire's and steal earrings, put them on and then just leave the wrapper at Claire's.
Have you ever stolen anything in your life?
I stole one time and I was I was probably 5.
Oh, you even know the difference between right and wrong.
No, but I actually did it for a good reason. I'm not even lying. I'm not. You can ask my mom. I stole a gift card. You know how they have the gift cards in line?
They don't even work though.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I was a little kid. I stole it and I gave it to my mom and I was like, here in case we need money. What? I swear to God. But no, I've never stolen anything.
No, in high school I liked to go into Spencer's and take stuff. Oh. Spencer's was fun, and then I got caught, and I was like, all right, I'm not, you didn't call the cops.
Oh
he was like, get the fuck out of here.
Were you a klepto?
I did, yeah. There was a weird a weird rush to it, to just to do something you're not supposed to do and not get caught is there was a weird rush. But I'm telling you, once the law got involved,
yeah, you're like, fuck.
And it's and you see where your life is going.
Yeah.
You're I'm not eating bologna sandwiches the rest of my life. I'm just not doing that.
I mean, I did bad stuff in other ways. I just didn't steal.
Oh yeah, but that's for another episode.
Right.
We'll probably talk about how terrible we were in another episode.
But
sure.
yeah, no, I never got fired. I'm surprised. I don't know how I never got fired from a job, but I never did.
Well, I'm giving you the personal congrats then, because it's one thing I can't never have I ever.
I know.
You get my ass 10 times out of 10 on that one.
I swear, a lot of people are like, you've gotten fired. I'm like, nope, I've never gotten fired. I've never even quit right before I was going to get fired. Oh, I beat you to it. I don't know how.
Oh, no. I always treated my jobs like my relationships. If I'm not the one running them, I don't even want to be a part of it.
Right.
You gotta be the one who's in charge.
I don't know how I always did good at jobs. People just like me.
You're personable. Why the hell do you think we're doing a podcast?
Right. They're just
we can sit here and talk for, what are we at? 2 hours and 32 minutes? Yeah.
Sick.
Thank you so much for joining us here at Slobs Anonymous. That's just about all the time we have today for you guys.
We worked it through.
We made it.
We made it through the work.
And I didn't say it in the beginning, but happy Friday. You made it to the end of the week and the end of the episode. Woo-hoo! Check that shit out. Put that shit on a t-shirt. Yeah, as always, join us next week. We're going to have a brand new topic. Cabes, what do we got for them next week?
We're going to talk about how to be a good party host and how to be a good party attendant.
Tips, tricks, what we love,
what
we hate.
My favorite things. I'm throwing parties.
If it was a Halloween party, she might explode.
I would jizz.
She would right in her pants.
It'd be exciting.
But again, as I mentioned at the beginning of the episode, don't be afraid to go ahead and send us your stories or your sentiments or anything you'd like us to say on air, because we will say just about anything.
That's right.
There's not a whole lot I wouldn't say.
Ask
Kaylee. She hates me for it. But yeah, if you're not already following us on Instagram, go ahead and find the Slobs Anonymous on Instagram. Go ahead and start following us. Like our content. Tell us what we're doing well. Tell us what we're terrible at. Subscribe. Like, love, heart, the OMG face.
Do all the good stuff.
Yeah, all that. Send us a meme.
And all that jazz.
Correct. But until next week, if you're not having fun,
You gotta make your own.
That's right. You got to make your own. We will see you next week on a brand new episode of
Slobs Anonymous with Joey C and KB. Can I pet that dog?
Can I pet that dog? Can I pet that dog?
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Is your microphone high enough? Because we're standing. Because we're just doing an intro.
Is it? Can you see it?
Now you're good.
Oh, okay.
You're going to talk like you got a dick in your throat there?
No, just testing it.
Just testing.
Just testing the dick in my mouth.
Are you prepared?
I'm never prepared.
Excellent.
I'm prepared.
In that case.